Freedom at risk. Media buried interference story. Now they're targeting your right to speak. In recent weeks, a wave of frustration has swept across Canada, centering on the critical issue of censorship in the digital age. As political debates heat up ahead of the upcoming elections, platforms like Facebook and Instagram have become battlegrounds for misinformation, complicating the public's ability to engage in meaningful discourse. This situation is exacerbated by legislative measures such as the Online News Act, Bill C-18, which has significant implications for how news is shared and consumed online. The Online News Act mandates that tech companies compensate the Canadian government for hosting news content. This law has created a landscape where independent creators struggle to gain visibility, while state-funded outlets thrive on both taxpayer support and platform payments. The result is a skewed media environment where the voices of independent journalists and commentators are often drowned out. This is particularly concerning during election seasons when the public needs access to diverse viewpoints and factual information to make informed decisions. As misinformation spreads, the consequences become increasingly evident. For instance, recent headlines suggested that a prominent public figure had been targeted by foreign interference. However, the full story clarified that the individual was actually supported, not discredited. Despite attempts to clarify this misinformation with credible sources, users found their efforts thwarted by platform restrictions that prevent the sharing of news links. This censorship, under the guise of protecting journalism, stifles open dialogue and hinders fact-checking efforts. Social media platforms owned by Meta, such as Facebook and Instagram, have transformed into echo chambers where misinformation thrives. Users are often unable to counter false claims effectively due to the inability to share links or credible sources. This creates an environment where misleading narratives can persist, as most individuals lack the motivation to create alternative content to correct inaccuracies. The result is a cycle of misinformation that undermines public trust in both media and political institutions. Political disillusionment is palpable across the nation. Many Canadians express frustration with their leaders, feeling that genuine engagement on critical issues is sorely lacking. Figures like Mark Carney, the new leader of the Liberal Party and Prime Minister, face scrutiny over their ability to facilitate meaningful conversations about pressing topics such as education, homelessness, and government overreach. Voters are increasingly dissatisfied with politicians who rely on rehearsed talking points rather than offering concrete solutions that resonate with the electorate. Opposition leaders like Pierre Poilievre also struggle to articulate clear, actionable plans. This lack of transparency and accountability creates an environment where citizens feel disconnected from their representatives. The result is a growing sense of frustration among voters who crave authenticity and direct engagement from their political leaders. Canadians want to hear more than just vague promises. They seek concrete plans that address the challenges they face in their daily lives. The growing trend of censorship and the inability to engage in open dialogue are deeply concerning. This environment not only silences valid criticism but also fosters a polarized public where truth is determined by repetition rather than evidence. As misinformation spreads unchecked, the risk to democratic engagement increases, leading to a populace that is misinformed and distrustful of the very institutions meant to serve them. The implications of this trend extend beyond the immediate political landscape. The erosion of trust in media and government institutions can lead to a disengaged electorate, which poses a significant threat to the democratic process. Citizens may become apathetic, feeling that their voices do not matter in a system that seems increasingly rigged against them. This disengagement could result in lower voter turnout and a weakened democracy overall. Moreover, the inability to share credible information on platforms further exacerbates the problem. With the restrictions imposed by Bill C-18, credible sources are often sidelined, leaving misinformation to flourish. This creates a dangerous cycle where the public is left to navigate a labyrinth of misleading narratives without the tools necessary to discern fact from fiction. As misinformation continues to proliferate, the public's ability to make informed decisions diminishes. Engaging with the political process should be an empowering experience for citizens. However, the current environment makes it increasingly difficult for individuals to participate meaningfully. The anxiety surrounding censorship and the spread of false information can lead many to disengage entirely. This lack of engagement undermines the very foundation of democracy, which relies on informed citizens who actively participate in the political process. As the political landscape evolves, there is an urgent need for advocacy around media transparency and accountability. Citizens must demand that their leaders prioritize open dialogue and the free exchange of ideas. This includes protecting the rights of independent creators and ensuring that diverse voices are heard in the public discourse. A healthy democracy requires an informed electorate, and that can only be achieved through a media landscape that supports transparency and accessibility. In the face of these challenges, Canadians must remain vigilant. Upholding the principles of free speech and open discourse is crucial to the health of the nation's democracy. As citizens, it is essential to advocate for a media landscape that supports diverse voices and encourages fact-based discussions. Without significant changes to how information is shared and consumed, the erosion of public trust and democratic engagement will continue, leaving Canadians vulnerable to the whims of misinformation and censorship. As the elections approach, the call for change becomes even more urgent. The need for transparency, accountability, and open dialogue has never been more critical. Canadians must unite to demand a political landscape that prioritizes genuine engagement and addresses the pressing issues facing the nation. The future of democracy in Canada hinges on the ability of its citizens to challenge misinformation and advocate for their rights to speak freely. By addressing these issues head-on, Canadians can work toward a more informed electorate and a healthier democratic process. The journey will not be easy, but it is essential for the well-being of the nation. The time for action is now, as the stakes are too high to ignore. The responsibility lies with individuals to stand up for their rights, engage in meaningful discussions, and ensure that the truth prevails in the face of adversity.